So, my dividend investing video was ridiculously popular, over 100,000 views. Now, clearly, a lot of you are interested in generating income from your investments, which makes total sense. While I am a proponent of dividend stocks and ETFs, like you saw in the video, they are not a full retirement plan. So, I don't want there to be any misunderstanding. If you're in or near retirement, what is really important as well, a diversified portfolio across multiple asset classes. Now, dividends are great. They give you income, they cushion against market losses, and really great thing, they can be reinvested for growth. But relying on dividends alone means missing out on the stability and inflation protection that other asset classes offer you. That's why even serious dividend investors should zoom out. Do you like that? Here's what most smart retirement portfolios include: dividend paying stocks and ETFs for regular income, growth stocks to keep pace with inflation over time. And when I say stocks, I mean the components of an ETF in most cases, not single stocks. So I don't want any confusion there. You want fixed income like bonds or TIPS that stabilizes your portfolio, cash and cash equivalents. They cover near-term expenses, emergencies, real assets like commodities or REITs. Now, not every investor needs these, okay? But in some cases, they can help diversify and hedge against inflation. Equities, stocks, are the growth engine of any long-term portfolio. Now, over time, U.S. stocks have delivered average annual returns of about 10%, although, as we know, that comes with plenty of short-term volatility. You got to be able to sit through it, right? Now, why include stocks? They help your portfolio outpace inflation, which is essential for retirees who may need to fund 20 to 30 years of living expenses. What kind of stocks? A mix of dividend payers for income and quality growth stocks for appreciation that keeps you balanced. Now, the key takeaway: without stocks or equity ETFs, okay, your portfolio probably will not generate enough to preserve your purchasing power throughout all those decades of retirement. Now, talking about fixed income and cash equivalents, that does not drive performance, but it provides stability. They help you preserve capital, dampen portfolio swings, and give you the flexibility during market downturns. That's their purpose. Bonds do give you some steady income, and they can rise in value when stocks fall, especially treasuries and high-quality corporate bonds. Now you've got cash equivalents, money market funds, CDs, treasury bills. These give you liquidity to cover those near-term expenses, the new roof, right, that you know about, that you'll need next year. And they really do help you reduce some of your market risk. And in case you're wondering, yes, there were concerns over what the new tax bill would do to the federal deficit, what it would mean for the treasury market, but things have calmed down a little. There was some pretty healthy demand for treasuries at a 30-year auction. Both short-term and long-term bonds rallied. What that did, that pushed yields lower. So the key point I'm making here, these more conservative assets create breathing room, call it, in your portfolio. So you're not forced to sell stocks when the markets drop and lock in losses, right? You can think of these as your financial shock absorbers. Now, real assets like commodities, real estate, inflation-linked bonds, these often behave differently from stocks and other bonds. They can protect against inflation and add diversification. For example, you may have heard of TIPS. These are Treasury inflation-protected securities. Real estate investment trusts, only the liquid, publicly traded ones. Commodity-focused ETFs. Now, why do these matter? These assets tend to hold their value, even perform well during times of inflation or when traditional markets are under some selling pressure. However, caveat here, only add alternatives if they actually bring something new to your portfolio, like boosting returns or helping to manage a specific risk, not just because you think it's sophisticated. That's a problem, adding stuff you think is sophisticated that doesn't really do anything. or does some damage. Make sure they truly diversify, not just low correlation on paper, but a real expansion of your investment mix. Kind of think about it the way global stocks can diversify if you're all in on US stocks. But watch the trade off: high fees, complexity, or a not so long track record that can cancel out any benefits. So really be careful if you're adding commodities. I'm not completely against it as a portfolio diversifier, but just make sure you're doing it for the right reasons. For example, gold has done very well during times of market volatility. Could be something to consider. Hey, if you want more ETF tips for your retirement portfolio, here's my free guide to ETF income generation. Now, the idea here is to build a strong, diversified retirement portfolio with the right inputs, okay? And that's why I've put together this ETF guide to help you grow and protect your money. From dividend growth and low volatility ETFs to international exposure and inflation hedges, this guide covers it all for you. So whether you're looking for steady income or long-term growth, these ETFs can support your retirement goals. So if you're ready to level up your portfolio, check out the full guide. Link is in the description. Now, the retirees I've worked with are not looking to swing for the fences. The job of your portfolio for retirement, believe it or not, is not to make as much money as possible. It's to balance risk and return. But trying to get the highest possible return is just de facto a high-risk strategy, puts your money at risk at exactly the wrong time. So instead, what I want you to do is think about a plan that works through the market ups and downs without needing to obsess over every headline. That's a recipe for disaster. And that's when diversification helps, okay? When stocks are down, bonds or cash can hold steady, mitigate some of that risk. When inflation spikes, real assets or tips can help. If you have dividend stocks and the dividends are cut, you still have some income streams elsewhere. Now, you don't need to be an expert on all of this. You really just need a system. An investment philosophy. You don't change that around just because something is happening in the news. Use dividend ETFs for steady income, short and intermediate term bonds for balance. Keep some cash, 3 to 12 months of spending on hand. Growth stocks for long-term upside, and in some cases, real assets, liquid alternatives. They can round out your portfolio. That's how you build a portfolio that supports you without relying on any one piece too heavily. Now, yeah, dividends are part of the plan, but they're just that, part of it. So if you want your retirement to go the distance, build in some income, growth, and protection. All right. Thank you for watching. If you want some more plain English investing tips without the hype, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks. So somebody just told me that a pineapple is a symbol for money and prosperity. I don't know. I just thought I'd bring one in because why not?